Welcome to the Plant Grow REIT podcast.
Welcome, everyone. I'm Trung, and with me today are Nadia and Joseph. Thank you for both being here and for joining me in this important discussion. We're going to be talking about transitioning from an employee to a shareholder. And before we start, I thought I'll just tell you a funny story that happened recently. I was with a family member, and I said to her, I'm a shareholder of the company I work at. And she goes, "Oh, that's great. When you retire, you can, still get the dividends." And I'm like, no, that's not the case. So I guess in this context, being a shareholder of Aintree Group is different to, say, a shareholder of a listed company, where you can sort of take that sort of passive approach and still receive the financial benefits. But being a shareholder of a small business, there's a lot more involved in it. So hopefully after today, we'll just talk about some of those things and talking about the journey to becoming a shareholder, and so that everyone can get something out of it. So with that said, Joseph, can you maybe share your thoughts on why someone might want to transition from being a employee to a shareholder?
Yeah, I think like celebrating the wins as a team and having your shareholders and just going through that journey together is really, it feels good. Getting through the ups and downs and, celebrating that with your fellow shareholders.
Yeah, that's right. There's also the share of the profits as well, which is pretty cool. And it's also having that personal success aligned with the company's success. So what you're doing is not just for yourself, you're also, aligning your values with the company, and your mindset changes as well.
Okay. I'd just like to add possibly career progression, I guess, as an employee. When you're working, you want to have some end goal or work towards some possible goals as well. So making that transition to a shareholder will allow for that progression as well. And like I said, it's a different type of shareholder. And so once you become that shareholder, you take on more responsibility and feel like you're progressing as well.
And definitely for someone like a grad or someone that has less experience, it's good for those guys to have something to look up to and something to progress to in the future.
Yeah. So what do you think are some of the first steps an employee should take if they're interested in becoming a shareholder? Trung?
First steps are obviously ask questions with the current shareholders, or just to find out more information, just to see if that's something they want to work towards. Being a shareholder of a small business is not for everyone. And when we'll talk about some of those things, challenges later, but it's not for everyone. So if that's something that you think you would like to do in the future, I would say definitely ask questions, find out more about it, see if it aligns with what you want to do in your career, and then work towards that.
Yeah, I think it's key to probably have a chat with your manager or whoever it may be, and just set some goals and make sure you work towards them, that can really help you fast track the process.
Yeah. From my experience, talking to people, and I dealt with so many different partners and shareholders, and really having that conversation and doing your research as well. I think that's all key, because you couldn't just become a shareholder overnight and not have a conversation with someone about what's involved. So
I think another good thing is just having like a keen interest in the business and like actually caring about the behind the scenes and how the process actually works. So what challenges do you guys think someone might face in transitioning to becoming a shareholder?
Well, my biggest challenge is understanding the shareholders agreement and trying to understand all the terminology and what is in there and what could go wrong, because you don't know what you don't know, and you read it and it goes over your head, and good lever, bad lever, all that kind of thing. That's one of my challenges with it. But also just changing your mindset and from an employee to a shareholder. I think they're two different roles, and it takes time.
Yeah, I think the biggest challenge is changing the mindset for me, because I guess with being an employee, you have a certain mindset. You can leave things maybe when you clock off or what have you. But being a shareholder, there's obviously going to be more increased responsibilities. I guess the business you are driving the business, you are the business. So that would be the biggest challenge, I would say, that increased responsibility and sort of that sort of mental drain, I guess. You have to put a lot more into it.
I guess that leads us on to our next question in how do you believe an individual's role and responsibilities change after becoming a shareholder? I guess I can start off with this one. Once you become a shareholder, there's quite a lot of things that go on behind the scenes that you don't really understand when you're just an employee. Like some of the things is you understand the importance of cash flow and how important it is to raise invoices at the end of each month and how critical it is to manage your cash flow. And you know when the wages cycle is, whereas when you're an employee, you just rock up to work, you get paid every fortnight and away you go. So yeah, managing debtors, managing cash flow, billing, they're all things that you kind of just take for granted.
Yeah. And even recently, the position descriptions, like people knowing their roles and being more involved in the people of the firm and, their roles and responsibilities, which we did recently, which was great. Yeah. And really just having that business owner mentality as opposed to just doing 9 to 5 and going home and just getting a salary. So, what do you guys think the challenges you might face and what support should one seek out?
The challenges would be that sort of increased responsibility and knowing that, you have to basically take responsibility and ensure execution of it as well. And I guess the support would be just to seek advice or lean on the other shareholders as well.
Yeah.
That's what I would say.
Yeah. I think time management and being organized comes into it as well, making sure you structure your days, blocking out times in your calendar for work-related things as well as any shareholder things that come up as well. So yeah, just being on top of your time management, structuring your days, and then as Trung said, leaning on fellow shareholders and your support team within the firm.
That's very important. What do you see as the most rewarding aspects of the role?
The most rewarding aspects would be, I guess, being involved in something and knowing that the effort you put in will lead somewhere and growing the business, I guess. Yeah.
I guess just sharing the journey with each other is rewarding and everyone knows what's going on. And it's just, it's great to celebrate the highs with each other.
Yeah, I agree with that. And the fact that we're involved and we're making decisions for the firm and we're watching it grow and and really investing time with people and knowing that we're a big contributor to the success of the firm. I think it's really rewarding.
Yeah, I agree. That's the rewarding thing is whatever you're putting into the business in terms of either mentoring or coming up with ideas will translate. And when it does translate, and that's where the reward is, I guess, seeing what you do come back in 2 or 3 folds, hopefully.
Yeah.
So how do you think a person's perspective on the company and its future changes once they become a shareholder?
I think you will understand that it's a lot more like the business itself is a lot more complex than you would actually think it is. There's a lot of procedures, policies in place. There's a lot of softwares, like countless softwares. And also HR. There's always things coming up on that front as well. So it's actually not as the business structure as you would think is very simple. There's an accounting firm, but in reality, there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes that you don't discover until you become a shareholder.
And your care factor increases as well. I think you start becoming long-term focused and you are more innovative as well, I find. Like when we have the shareholders meeting, there's always more ideas where if you're just an employee, you probably don't care as much and your care factor is not as high. So, and just, focusing on the health of the culture and how everything molds together rather than just focusing on your role and what you're doing. You're actually seeing things from a different perspective and an outside perspective. And it also helps, I think, with managing our clients and seeing how they manage a business because they're doing similar to what we're doing. And so it's actually, I think, helped us with our clients as well, having that business mindset because it's for helping.
Yeah, I think that's a good point in that we should be able to apply the things that we learn looking after our clients. When you're looking after your clients, you advise on them, and then now it's transferring that into the business that you're currently involved with.
Yeah, I guess we're seeing it firsthand, so
yes, exactly.
We can actually explain things that we're doing and we're seeing straight up.
Yeah.
So
and we can also say from our experience
that's
or
right.
from mine. So that's been great. Yeah.
It's just funny as well. I guess being a shareholder of a non-listed company, it's kind of like you're a shareholder, or a board member as well. It's not just being a shareholder. It's kind of a combined role, sort of. So that's how a perspective changes as well, I guess.
Yeah. But how do you think the becoming a shareholder impacts on your work-life balance?
Well, this is the first year of being a shareholder of Aintree Group, and so far it's changed. Definitely it's changed because, like I said before, the fact that you have that increased responsibility and sort of that mental, investment. It's changed slightly. So I guess the key thing is the first year is always going to be the hardest, and the hope is that after that first year of the learning new things, then you can better cope better going forward.
Yeah. Are you working more hours?
I would say yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think one thing to add is it's probably a bit harder to switch off.
Yes, I was going to say.
You're always thinking about what's going on behind the scenes. It's not like when you're just an employee and you kind of just, when you leave everything behind. Whereas to an extent, that you're always thinking about something in the back of your head, I guess.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree with that. I feel like I'm working more hours and my weekends thinking about things and trying to be innovative during that time, being that it's so fast paced during the week and trying to get so much done with our clients. So then we can focus on the business outside of that. So definitely my mindset. But also making sure that, we do the things that we enjoy outside of work, going to gym, spending time with family, spending time with our partners. All of that is very important. So I do try to prioritize that, and also being present in discussions when talking to your partner. Sometimes my mind could be still at work and I need to physically turn my mind off to be able to engage in conversation at times because my mind does wander. So that's another challenge.
In what ways do you think becoming a shareholder enhances your personal or professional growth?
Becoming a shareholder, obviously, with the increased responsibility, you do have to, behave a certain way, and forces you to change your sort of personal growth. And that will help with your personal growth. Being more of a leader, being more a mentor, that's just self-development in there itself. So
yeah.
I think what Nadia said earlier as well, how we can apply it to how being a shareholder to clients, that enhances your professional growth as well, because we're applying what we're dealing with in real life to our clients, which is essentially providing a better service to them.
That's right. I think it's building, we build resilience as well. So I think, having that mindset and that experience, and having that strategic thinking, strategic mind, problem-solving mind, all of that. Yeah, and I definitely have already seen that in the last year of applying that to clients as well, because you have that mindset. Have you seen or heard of any new initiatives or projects that shareholders take on that wouldn't normally be considered as an employee?
I guess maybe from my end, I've been assisting with capacity planning.
Yep.
Planning out the capacity that the firm has, and seeing whether we're overstaffed, understaffed. That's probably something that I wouldn't have been able to get involved in.
And really making a decision on should we employ more people or not?
Exactly.
Because it obviously doesn't affect the bottom line. And
it's the same can be applied with cash flow forecasting. I guess we still do that with our clients, but doing it for the business is something a bit different.
Yeah, for me, it's a similar thing. That whole capacity, I guess, budget. It was an eye opener. I guess. Yeah. And once you get sort of down to the nitty gritty of how it all works out, how you calculate it. It just gives you, I guess, a better insight on what we need to do as managers or directors and managing the team.
How should one manage the increased responsibilities and expectations that come with being a shareholder?
Gotta go for it.
Oh, you can. If you've got
Yes, it's a challenge. But I think having clear priorities, knowing when to put your shareholder hat on, when you're managing the clients, putting that hat on, managing the team, your mentoring hat on, and having all these different hats. And I also think about my calendar in that way in terms of time blocking to just to manage it and just slot it in. And just make time. Delegating as much as possible and really spending time to mentor the team rather than doing things yourself. I think that's really important. And just continuously learning. Just keep learning and
I'll add one thing. Probably just confirming with the managing director and the CEO what they want from you as well. Just
yes, that's a big one.
setting that straight from the start so you're on the same page.
Yeah, I had that conversation with Shane. And it's actually good to get that clarity because sometimes you don't know if you don't ask.
Yeah.
So something I've been thinking about now, especially because our mind is, we're a shareholder and we've got responsibilities. When we go on annual leave and we take time off, are we still meant to be working, checking our emails and Teams? Because previously we would just completely switch off. And I feel as if we probably couldn't do that for a long period of time and we still need to be engaged with the business. So then we'll just need to try to manage that, whether it's, when we're traveling, maybe in the morning of, check our emails, then try to switch off at that point and really focus on the day and be present. That's going to be a challenge for my first holiday since being a shareholder, which will be interesting.
Next question is, what advice would you give to employees who are considering becoming shareholders of a company?
Probably touching base with your manager, with the managing director, having some goals in place is probably the first point, and then working towards those and staying disciplined. It's probably easy to just get off track a little bit because it can probably be a bit of a lengthy process. It's not going to happen overnight, so it's something that you need to maintain focus.
Do your research, speak to people. I'm very strong about that. Just get information. You don't know what you don't know. Maybe even put it into ChatGPT, see what that comes out with. So and really understanding the financial side of things because being a shareholder, you're purchasing someone else's shares. So there's a financial, you're actually, either obtaining a loan or using your cash. So making sure you get a good return on your investment and understanding what that means, which again then helps with the clients as well. And knowing, their return on investment and understanding that calculation. So there's a lot of research and it takes years to develop all of that.
Yeah, my advice would be do the research, see if it aligns with where you want to go. Ask a lot of questions, and I guess be patient because it's not going to happen immediately. You'll have to work hard towards it to be given an opportunity. It's hard work as well, I guess. Be patient and be persistent.
Yeah. Are there any common misconceptions about being a shareholder that you'd like to address? I've got one.
Go for it.
That we're focused on profits and money making. Obviously, you think shareholder, you think dividends, you think money coming in. But I feel like there's so much more to that. And me personally, my focus is on the team and making sure we have a happy, healthy culture, hardworking culture, but also we have fun as well. We all want to wake up every morning and go to work and enjoy what we're doing. And we hope that the rest of the team feel the same way as well. So we get more focus on that and making sure that our values are aligned in that respect. And, obviously the profits are good and, getting the dividends are good too. But you don't want that to be at the expense of not having a happy, healthy culture.
Yeah, so I guess I cleared up one of the misconception early on with my anecdote, but I guess maybe some other businesses there is a focus on profits, but at Aintree Group, it's more than that. And I think with our culture, the way we do things, it's about building and developing team members, and empowering them. So, with being a shareholder of Aintree Group, it's like I said before, it's a bit different to being a passive shareholder of a listed company. So you're more involved, and because you're more involved, once you become a shareholder, you see things differently, and you want to contribute into that growth and being a mentor and what have you. Because by doing these things, the business will benefit at the end of the day. And yeah.
How can companies better support their employees who aspire to become shareholders?
Oh, that one's interesting. At my the other company I work for, we actually had a pathway to partnership program, and we would meet with the partners and discuss our plans for the future, and they would talk about what we would need to do to get there. I found that really interesting. So yeah, again, having the conversations. Maybe more educational programs. I don't know if there is anything out there, but something that, teaches you what's involved in being a shareholder and what to think about. And, basically it's all been informal, I think, for us.
With the pathway program that you just mentioned, did you have like a mentor or something that kind of guided you?
You just
in the
met with the
direction?
managing partner and you asked him questions and he gave you his feedback on what it was like. But it wasn't a clear formal the pathway to partnership was really a conversation with the managing director.
So I guess a set plan would probably be beneficial for those that were interested. Have a bit more structure.
Yeah, and timeline as well. But I guess it depends on your how quickly you develop, and because it takes time. It takes a lot of time.
Yeah, I guess that's a good question because just thinking about it, we actually don't have something like that at the moment. So maybe this can prompt us to implement something. But I guess what the company could do is provide that communication, make it a bit more clear. And then once we have that sort of program in place, you can catch up with people and identify what that gaps are for them to become one, and then work towards that by developing a plan.
Yeah.
I would say.
Will you be driving this initiative, Trung?
No.
I think you put your hand up too much today. I don't know if you're scratching your head or you had your hand up with the few initiatives you took today.
I can create the ideas, but someone needs to execute it.
All right. Joseph, you're up.
Yeah. So is there anything else? Any other final thoughts?
Would you recommend an employee consider being a shareholder? Yes?
Yes.
I guess it depends on the company. It depends on the culture, and because you are invested. As long as you're making a return on that investment and you enjoy going to work every day, why not?
Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thank you.